welcome to the What Country Is podcast with Sarah Pearson. I am Sarah Pearson, continue to be forever and always until something happens. Happy Friday, guys. It's been a long 2 weeks for me. I apologize for not posting an episode on Friday last week. I recorded the whole thing and I went to go edit it and I was just like, I'm just not feeling it. Everything about it felt super forced and I was really basically just sad about the whole thing, and I was sad during the whole thing, and I didn't want to give you guys something that you were just like, what is she doing? What is she talking about? Why is she pretending to be happy? So I didn't. I just kind of scrapped it and was like, you know what? Try something new next week. And so here we are. Happy Friday. Things didn't get much better this week. With, I have a ton of family things going on back home in New York, which it pains me that I can't go back for. Um, it's just, it's really tough, and I want to be able to be there for my family, but right now it just kind of doesn't fit in to my schedule of looking for jobs, and then my brother's wedding coming up and me going home in a few weeks, and I don't want to travel like twice as much. So I'm just trying to keep my stress level pretty low, and keep everyone in my family smiling and keep moving forward, with the best intentions. Just keeping everyone thinking positively, because this is a very tough time in my family. So if I continue to be kind of sad, kind of glum, that is why it has just been really tough these last few weeks. And not only that, I had interviewed for a job that I was interested in, and I didn't get it, and that really bummed me out too. But in comparison to the other things that happened last week, not a big deal. So I keep going on the job hunt grind, and keep going going through the family stuff. So I'm hoping your weeks have been better than mine, and I'm hoping that from here on out things start getting better, and I can be more positive about things, and happy about things, and getting excited. The one good thing that happened last week, or this week, oh gosh, they're all blending together. This week was I got my second dose of the COVID vaccine. So by May 18th, I should be fully vaccinated and ready to just go explore. As you may know, if you've been following me a little bit on this podcast, I moved to Memphis in February and haven't really been able to do much since I got here, just in fear of getting COVID and spreading COVID. And I've been holed up in this apartment for months, just trying to find creative ways to fill up my time, from job hunting to writing, and making, obviously, some podcast content. It's been just kind of boring, kind of boring time. I watch a lot of YouTube videos. As you know, if you've been listening to the podcast, been watching a lot of Supernatural. So I'm excited to finally go outside without fear. Not that I haven't been going outside, as you all know, again, because you listen to the podcast. I go on walks at this park, and I don't really fear getting COVID there, because I don't really run into that many people. And then I also go to the grocery store. So, two places that I go that I've been able to experience the culture of Memphis, which has been very small. The small encounters I've had. So I'm looking forward to May 18th is when Sarah becomes full-fledged Memphinian, Menfin? I don't know. Obviously, I haven't taken the time to learn what we're called. I'm hoping that I won't be one for long in hopes that job prospects come my way. But I'm going to embrace it. I'm going to embrace being a person from Memphis. I'm not even going to try to say what it is now because I don't think I know it. I don't think I've gotten it right in the three attempts that I gave. Oh my goodness. So that has been my life update. Not much happening directly to me, not much of anything great. So just the COVID vaccine was pretty fun. However, that does have like a fun story. So I'll tell it. When I first went and got the first one, I went to a Walgreens pharmacy that's like 5 minutes away, and let me tell you, the pharmacist that gave me my first vaccine, wacky is all get out, man. He just like has hair that's like sticking out all over, and he's older, and he's just kind of like silly. I don't know. He's just really strange, and so I sat down in the chair and he was like, "Which arm?" And I was like, "I don't know." Cuz I write with my left hand and do like a few things with my left hand, eat, brush my teeth, brush my teeth. It's just silly. Brush my teeth. But I do almost everything else with my right hand. I play sports with my right hand. I just am a little bit more right hand dominant, but I guess when it comes to writing and like the daintier, detailed things, I'm much more left handed. And so I was just like, I guess the right. And so he's like, okay. And so he asked me to go sit behind the screen, and I finish up my paperwork and I sit behind the screen, and he comes out and he's like, "Your arm's gonna hurt, stick." And then he walks away. And I was like, okay. And he's like, sit there for like 15 minutes and then I'll tell you when you can go. And so I get up from that chair and I go sit into a different spot so they can do like the next person. And where I'm sitting, so there is like a smaller window next to like the big pharmacy window. So like you would go up to the big window to get your like pick up your prescriptions or whatever. But then there was like a smaller window that you could just like pick them up just like quickly, I guess. We don't have that kind of advanced window technology where I'm from, so it was a little new to me. But anyway, so I was sitting across from the small window. It resembled like an ice cream window. That's the best way I could describe it, like a soft ice cream window. And I'm sitting there on my phone or whatever, and all of a sudden the quirky pharmacist just is like throws his whole head out like through the window, and he goes, "I think you're good to go." And I was like, okay, see ya in a few weeks. And so I leave and whatever. So, I forget about that whole thing. And and then I go back on Tuesday for my second one. And he's like, "Are you here to pick up a prescription?" I'm like, "No, I'm here to get my my vaccine." And so he's like, "Okay, fill out this paperwork and whatever." And he's still quirky as ever. And so I sit down, fill up the paperwork, and he goes, "Which arm?" And I'm like, "My right arm, please." And he's like, "Okay." And so I sit down in the chair, and he goes, "Did you have any side effects?" And I said, "No, my arm hurt a little bit, but not crazy." And he goes, "I got Moderna, and it hurt like a mother effer." And I was like, "Oh my gosh, you are a kooky man. I really enjoy you. Please don't murder anyone." Because he's kind of got that energy. He's just kind of like kind of very strange, a very strange man. Okay, I'm going to address something now for the visual listeners. The light on my face is going to be like really extreme, and I don't know why. I think it just got more extreme, so I'm going to try to fix it. Like, so don't oh gosh. Oh gosh. Okay. I think that's a little better. Okay. I don't know what happened, but I feel like it got brighter. Uh, and I look terrible right now. I haven't been sleeping very well, and the COVID vaccine kind of just made me super sleepy for the last few days. So there's that. And I've been going on my longer walks, and that hasn't helped. Oh, Castleton. Well, that was traumatizing. Um, I really need to figure out what to do about these. Oh gosh, my ears. Where was I? I just totally got like blasted into like. Oh gosh, I'm so sorry for the terrible interruption from a phone call. I'm sure to tell me that my car warranty is expired. I'm so freaking sick of those junk freaking calls. You tell me, I can't escape them. I can't escape, automated phone calls telling me about things that I don't really need. So I hear that is like a big issue. And not at all on topic with this episode, but, we roll with the punches here. So, now that you've gotten to know a little bit more about the last few weeks in my house, in my life, what I've been up to, what my plans are, we can jump right into the country topic of today, which is not so much country news or anything, even in that realm. But in the last few weeks, I've been thinking about just like kind of living in the past a little bit. And I was walking through the park and I smelled the combination of the trees blooming and the water kind of like flowing, and it just reminded me of my summers growing up, and it made me smile for the first time in quite a few weeks, um and it made me think of other memories of in my life that have made me just like filled with pure joy, I guess. And so I thought I'd share some of those that are related to country music with you because I think the overarching community of country music listeners really has a strong connection to the genre, and by association has lots of memories with it. And I think a lot of country music is fundamentally based on the memory system that we work on as humans. And we are able to look back on the past through country music, which is awesome. And so I just thought I'd share some of my best memories. One is about a concert, and the second one is just about uh, something that I really enjoyed doing uh, a few, months, or I guess it's going to be a year ago, a few years ago. And so the first story I have to share with you is the time that I went to a Chris Young concert by myself. Now, this was like a monumental moment for me personally because I'm not a person that does things by myself. I like to do things in groups. I think it's more fun to do things in groups. I do things on my own sometimes, but normally they're not fun things. They're not things like concerts that are much better enjoyed with a partner or a group of people or something along those lines. So when I decided I wanted to go to the concert, because I had been a fan of Chris Young for a really long time, and I had just really started getting back into his music again. And I saw that he was coming to Saratoga, which was near where I lived, and he, is pretty popular country music star. I think we all know this, and I, to be honest, I was really into him. I wanted to be a girlfriend of Chris Young, and so I was like, how can I get the closest I can get without totally breaking my budget? And I thought about going with someone else, but then I saw that the tickets for the pit, so like really close to the front, were like if you bought one ticket like for one person, so there was like the seats were filled around you, so there was just like one miscellaneous in like the middle of a row. That it was like $83, and I was like, "This is a deal." I will never ever have this deal ever again. And so I bought it. I was like, I guess I'm not going with anyone. I'm not going to miss an opportunity because I feel like I have to go with someone. So I bought the ticket in April probably. And I think the concert was in May, like late May. And so I was so excited. And it was like my treat after the semester. And so I am now home, and so I drive to Saratoga, which is about an hour from where I lived, and we go to the Saratoga Performing Arts Center, which is an amphitheater. And my experience there, I've always either been like in the lawn or in like the higher balcony part, and I've never been really inside. I've been inside once, and it was for the Jonas Brothers, and I was 10. So, and I wasn't that close. I was literally basically on the lawn, but inside. And so this is the closest I had ever been to any concert performer ever, at least, in the theater and amphitheater and arena tour category. I've definitely had my fair share of close encounters with smaller bands. And so I was like in the second row to the back of the pit, which still really close, but not close enough. I just I wanted front row tickets, but I wasn't willing to shovel out the money. And so I got there and I sat down and I was all by myself. And I, unlike most people, especially because I was by myself, so like typically people, they party in the parking lot and tailgate and have a great time before the concert and then like kind of just like mosey in missing like the few first acts. And so there were two opening acts and then there was Chris Young. But me, because I was by myself, I went into the concert like nice and early. I wanted to get my seat. I wanted to see everyone perform because I'm a big music nerd, obviously. And so I sit down, and then these girls show up behind me. And I want to say, like, one was in her 30s and one was a little bit closer to my age. And they're sitting there, and I'm not talking to them because I am awkward. But she mentioned something about the seats being, like, really close together, like the rows. So there's, like, nowhere to, like, dance or stand up, really. And I kind of just turned around and I was like, yeah. And then I started a conversation with her, and the older one, the one in her 30s, kind of just like told me this story about how she knew Chris Young when she lived in Nashville and they were dancing partners at this place where they danced, and how they kind of just like hung out as friends, and I feel like the opportunity arose for them to date, and it just never happened. And so like I was talking to a potential lover, and you would think as someone who is actively trying to date a superstar, I would feel threatened. No. I wanted everything in my power for her to interact with him again. And I was like, "Well, did you bring a sign?" Like that was the first thing that popped in my head. And she's like, "Well, I made one and then I left it at home." And then her cousin, I think it's the younger one was her cousin, and she's like, yeah, I told her to bring it. And she was like, no. And I was like, well, now you have me. And when I'm a part of a scheme, I really commit. And so my task for the whole rest of the concert was to get her noticed by her, past friend, crush, person. And so they have these paper cups that I'm assuming like from McDonald's, obviously, but not McDonald's cups, but similar. And because you're not allowed to have like bottles or cans in the pit, just in case you get drunk and decide to throw them at the talent. And so they make you pour your drink into these paper cups. And so I politely asked for one of these paper cups, and I ripped it down the seam and like unrolled it, and I asked this woman next to me if she had a pen or a marker. She looked like a nice mom, and so she's like, of course. And so she hands me a Sharpie, which was very convenient. And so I handed the cup and the Sharpie to the girl that knew Chris Young, and I said, write your little message. I will get it into his hands. or I will attempt to get it into his hands. And so basically my plan, I thought it was pretty uh, foolproof, which is, so how it works is in the pit, there's like two sides and then there's an aisle that leads down the middle. Now, how I ended up figuring it was I was on the left side. And then there were some people on the right side, and then front row people were leaning up against the fence in the pit. But there was one open spot where there wasn't a seat because there was an aisle. And so hopefully you can see where I'm going, which is that was now my spot. Okay, I was going to be as close as possible in the middle of the aisle. And I think the only reason I was successful at snagging this spot was because of the following. I was almost incredible, like too nice to the people around me. I basically was, I said to like each group next to me, there was like a group of girls and then two guys. And I said, listen, I am a really big fan of Chris and I'm here by myself. So there's not going to be like anyone else, coming and to join me. If you would like me to leave and go back to my seat, I am more than happy to, but this is a once in a lifetime opportunity for me. And if you would allow me to stand next to you, I would be very grateful. And that worked. They didn't bother me the whole time. And so I stood there and I just like kept my elbows in, just like squeezed in there. But I was like front and center, right in front of his mic stand. So I was really excited. And so Chris comes up on stage and I'm having a great time singing along. And so I kind of like, gesture for the girl to come up next to me. And I explained to the two parties next to me, this is such and such. She has this sign. She knows Chris Young. It would be super cool if we could get this like read by Chris. And so they were all on board. It was lots of fun. And so the two guys, much taller than I am, were holding up the sign and we were just like all kind of like pointing at it. We had this like whole section pointing at it and he was like, oh my God, I need to read this. And so he takes it and he reads it. I say he, Chris Young. Chris Young takes the sign out of the guy's hand and reads it. And the girl's standing next to me and he's like, oh my God, I know you. That's not really word for word what he said, but he acknowledged her existence. And so she was happy. I was happy. He, being Chris Young, probably didn't care at all, but it was nice to see a smile on everyone's faces. And so that was like a really fun experience. And still haven't dated Chris Young. I don't know how open he is to a date. Still interested. Maybe, for coffee or something. But that is the story of the Chris Young concert that I went to by myself. And to be honest, it was the most fun I've had at any concert ever. And I've been to quite a few in my time. And since I've only gone to one other concert by myself at SPAC, and it was for my internship. And it was, not the most fun time, but it was a good time a little bit because I was working. It was a little weird. But I had a great time at the Chris Young concert. And the next kind of memory that I have associated with country music is one with my best friend Liz. And for those who don't know, I don't know how many people don't actually know me in person, but I have a best friend. Her name is Liz. She currently lives in Ireland, and she's freaking killing it. I mean, that's always been her dream, so I'm incredibly proud of her, and I miss her terribly because it was bad enough when we lived in two separate towns in one state, but now she lives in a whole nother country, and I don't live even close to the state we're from. So seeing each other is going to be a little bit more difficult than it used to be. But the reason I bring it up is because some of the best memories I have of country music are with her. I have driven basically all around Albany and the Adirondacks and Cooperstown, um, listening to country music with her. And we come up with our own opinions and figure out which songs that we like and which ones we don't and why we don't. And even the ones we don't, we listen to because we like to make fun of them. And so I she is my true soul, my country music soulmate when it comes to these things. And so the second thing that we've done together, or like the main country music thing that we've done together, was we went to go see Riley Green, and we rented, like we got a hotel room, and we went to this. So we were, I think I had just turned 21 that summer. Yeah, I believe. And so we were both 21 and we were able to drink. So this was the first concert I was like legally able to drink at. And so we went and we stayed at the hotel, and it was at like this honky tonk bar, and it was seriously one of the best times ever. Like, as far as concerts that I went to with a group or another person, best concert ever. The beers were cheap. There was lots of dancing. We were really close to Riley Green. I caught not just one, but two guitar picks. The first one was intentional. The second one hit me in the chest, and I kind of just like caught it out of shock. And so I turned around to Liz, and I was like, "Look at what I have." And she's like, "I know, you showed me it like a few minutes ago." I said, "No, this is a second one." And so I gave the second one to her. So now we both have a memento from Riley Green. I use mine to play all the time, so his like logo is faded off. I just kind of like I don't want it to just sit around because I'm totally gonna lose it. So I like to keep it front and center. And I use it to play guitar all the time. So that's kind of fun. That's kind of like a little country music thing that's nice. I don't know. So I just really miss those times when we could go to concerts and I could have those really awesome, fun memories attached to the genre, which leads me to my Instagram poll, where I think the lasting impression of country music is in the artist that everyone knows, not just the country fan. And so I asked of a poll. I don't know if that was proper grammar. I did a poll on Instagram, and I did a would you rather country icon edition. And so I only did a few. I didn't want to go crazy. I just picked some people that I think everyone would know. And so these are the results, and I'll give you my feedback because obviously, my podcast, I got some opinions. So the first one, I had to start big, with like the one everyone knows, which is Shania Twain, who is just the epitome of country music of the 90s, at least. She's just fantastic. I would consider her like a stadium country kind of girl. Fantastic. So I had everyone choose between Man, I Feel Like a Woman and Don't Impress Me Much. And I just thought those were the ones everyone knew. I guess I could have done You're Still the One, but like I kind of wanted they're not similar enough where they could have been comparable. And everyone basically chose Man, I Feel Like a Woman. But that is truly her most iconic song, so I understand. It makes sense 100% to me. I think, I say this, I performed it for my last convocation at my college. And so I guess it is counterintuitive to say that I would have picked, Don't Impress Me Much. I just think it's funny that she just like dropped a diss track on Brad Pitt. He's just minding his own business. Anyway, but it was hard for me to pick, but I'm with the 11% that said don't impress me much. The next one, the next country icon, who is debatably the current queen of country music, which is Carrie Underwood. And I had everyone choose between Before He Cheats and Jesus Take the Wheel. And those are her two most popular songs. So it seemed fitting that these are the two options. And of course, 84% of people chose Before He Cheats. Makes sense. Literally one of her most popular songs ever. But 16% of people said Jesus Take the Wheel. I love both of these songs, but I would say that Before He Cheats has that like grit that I love about Carrie's voice and her type of country music. So I'm a Before He Cheats kind of girl. The next one is the king of stadium country, kind of up there with Shania, which is Garth Brooks. And to be honest, I don't think a lot of people that don't listen to country music know too much by Garth Brooks. They all know who he is, but they don't know a ton of his songs. So I chose Friends in Low Places and Thunder Rolls. And let me tell you, I'm guessing, this is my guess, I'm guessing the people that have never, like, that don't listen to country music have never heard Thunder Rolls. And if you haven't, and you probably didn't listen to this before voting, you are all wrong. You all said Friends in Low Places. The Thunder Rolls is the greatest Garth Brooks song of all time, and it deserves more than 9% of the vote. So I'm with you, the other 9%. The Thunder Rolls is the best one. I'm just calling it out. You should all go listen to it because it is the best. Next is George freaking Strait. The man to beat. Everyone loves George. And the options for him were Amarillo by Morning and Check Yes or No. Check Yes or No won with 71%. I can't argue with that. I agree 100%. Amarillo by Morning's good, but Check Yes or No, it just has that like super catchy vibe, and it's kind of cute. So I'm here for it. George Strait, Check Yes or No. Next up on our list of country icons is Miss Dolly Parton, everyone's favorite. Who doesn't love her? She's absolutely stunning, and everything she does is just great. Musically, in her person, in her day-to-day life, she's just awesome. So the songs that I chose for her are Jolene and I Will Always Love You. Now, Jolene became like super popular in the last few years, so I was not surprised that 85% of the people chose Jolene, and 15% of people chose I Will Always Love You. And I'm not surprised, but I Will Always Love You is obviously a Whitney Houston classic. But if you didn't know that, that Dolly wrote that song, you should go listen to her version of it. It's really beautiful, and I suggest it. But I think I would go with Jolene as well. The next one is the Chicks, formerly known as the Dixie Chicks, and they had Goodbye Earl and Cowboy Take Me Away. I really like Cowboy Take Me Away, but I also love Goodbye Earl because it's kind of got that grit to it. But I would have chosen Cowboy Take Me Away, and 69% of people chose that as well, so no argument there. After that was Zac Brown Band. Again, a group that everyone knows, and I think everyone knows Chicken Fried and Toes, and everyone chose, not everyone, I say everyone like it's unanimous. 64% of people chose Chicken Fried, and 36% of people chose Toes. And to be honest, I'm really not surprised at these, other than the Garth Brooks thing. You guys really let me down. But every single song that had the majority of the vote makes a ton of sense to me, popularity-wise. I truly believe those are the songs that are they're most popular, and that they expand beyond the genre of country and have made it into regular people's, playlists and iTunes lists or whatever people have these days. And that leads me to the next one, which is the amazing group of Rascal Flatts. And now I would say that Rascal Flatts, out of all country groups, probably the best known by everyone. They've just constantly putting out amazing music all of the time. But the two songs that I chose was Life is a Highway and What Hurts the Most. Because I'd say that what hurts the most is the song of Rascal Flatts. My love of Rascal Flatts is like leans toward Life is a Highway. I listen to it all the time when I'm feeling sleepy driving on a highway. I just pop that on. I'm like, oh yes, that's right. Life is a highway. And this one was shocking because it was a tie. It was 50-50% between Life is a Highway and What Hurts the Most. And if I had to choose, I'd have to choose Life is a Highway, I think. Oh, but What Hurts the Most is so good. I can see why you guys had such a hard time figuring out which one to do, because I have literally no idea which one I would choose. So the last one is a moderner, well-known country artist, which is Casey Musgraves. And she has a lot of different styles out. I would say that her earlier stuff was a little bit more like country folkish. And so I put Follow Your Arrow and then something new, which was Slow Burn. And I was really excited to see that Follow Your Arrow one, because not that I don't like her new stuff. Okay, I really don't like Casey Musgraves' new stuff. Not because it's not good, because it's not really country. But I just think that Follow Your Arrow is a little bit more closer to my country heart. And so I would agree with the 52% that voted Follow Your Arrow. And that's it. I didn't do too many. Like I said, I didn't want to like blow up the Instagram. Everyone seems to really enjoy doing polls. I will try to continue to do them. It's just, I got to come up with a question every week and then answers, and it's just a lot of work. But I will continue to do those because you seem to prefer to interact with those instead of writing the suggestions and whatnot. And I get a lot of responses. I'm always impressed by the amount of responses that I get from from you guys on Instagram, and it makes me super happy every week that I do it. And you guys give a lot of good feedback on the country music world that I live in. So I really appreciate it. And this video is running relatively long, so I'm gonna this podcast. Oh my goodness, I still don't know what I'm doing. It's episode 6, 7. I don't really remember. I think it's 7. Wow, I've made it so far. I think that's it, guys. Thank you guys for joining me this week. I hope you have a happy Friday. I hope you have a great week, and I will be checking in with you guys next Friday. Goodbye.